Hello, and welcome to Geeky Ghouls. We're your hosts, Cheyenne.
Bree.
And Claudia.
Each week we'll dive into the world of ghosts that wander the night, cryptids that lurk just beyond, fairy tales.
Plus anything and everything in between, which may hold darker truths than you imagine.
So grab your favorite blanket, turn off the lights, and settle in as we conjure up some ghoulish fun. Welcome back to Geeky Ghouls. Today we're diving into one of the creepiest urban legends online, the Black-Eyed Kids, or BEKs for short. But first, let's talk about what happened last episode.
Yeah, so I didn't fix any of my settings on my mic. My apologies on my end.
My mic doesn't even have settings. I was just sitting way too far from it, I guess.
She was just sitting across the room. It's okay.
Shut up. I just have
I was just
a-
I thought you were
on
supposed to
my-
put it in a corner and then talk from the other side.
Well,
and then yell from the other corner of
Just
the room.
yell
Yes.
very loudly.
Well, I was way too
Listen.
close to my mic.
Oh man.
I know now I'm practically
Now
I don't know.
we're opposite. I'm farther. You're on top of your mic. We're making it work.
Yes, there we go.
But yes, it was exciting launching our first episode. We do appreciate all the listens so far.
Yes.
Absolutely love seeing those comments coming in, especially about the badonkadonks, how some of you spit out your water. This is great. I did not expect that kind of reaction. So thank you so much.
Yeah, don't mind me. Most of my stuff I say is very random. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. I think that's what makes it great. It's authentic, it's true and real. Let's keep it going. Imagine it's late at night, there's a knock at your door. You peek through and see a couple of kids standing there asking to come inside. But there's something off. Something about them sends chills down your spine. Their eyes completely covered in black, their skin extremely pale, their presence eerie, unsettling.
So I first want to, before we roll into the sightings and stuff, I do want to ask you guys, how much information do you know about the BEKs? Have you guys ever heard of them prior to this?
I definitely have. I've heard an episode of And That's Why We Drink talk about the Black-Eyed Kids, which got me interested in them and kind of frightened at the same time.
Okay, Claudia.
I think prior to having heard them called the Black-Eyed Kids, I familiar with the concept, right, from other film or maybe more demon-like characters that tend to have completely pitch black eyeballs with no white lids, nothing, right? Like something that's just unsettling. So that's what I think of when you mention Black-Eyed Kids.
Okay, so I just think it's interesting to start off each episode just getting your guys' opinion, how much you know about something before we start. Just so I want to see your reactions toward the end after we go through these sightings and stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with the first sighting in 1998 by Brian Bethel. Texan reporter Brian Bethel wrote of an experience he had 2 years prior while he was sitting in his car next to the movie theater. Bethel claimed that his car was approached by two boys around the ages of 9 and 12 wearing hooded sweatshirts. One appeared as a curly head young man and the other a redhead, pale skinned, freckles young man. They both asked if they could be drove home to their mother's house to get money to buy tickets to watch Mortal Kombat. He rolled down his window a little because he says when the boys spoke, he felt an unnatural sense of dread. So first of all, can we say how very accurate these BEKs are with wanting to see Mortal Kombat? I feel like that's very interesting.
I feel like they didn't get the memo that it's like, hey, the movie's not out anymore.
Okay. I think the timeline matches up. Did Mortal Kombat come out in 1998? I feel like it did, or was it maybe two?
I think the second one came out, but I think it came out in 1997.
The first one came out in 1992. I don't know.
Whoa, okay. So they're seeing a old movie. What Mortal Kombat are they seeing?
The second one, isn't that the most recent? Or is there a
No,
different?
no, 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 no. There is a second part of the first original Mortal Kombat. The recent one is just like it's a whole new thing. It's a whole entirely new thing.
Okay, Mortal Kombat Annihilation came out in 1997.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if it tells me like what time. Like if it was the end of the year, 1997, it would kind of make sense
It
that
would kind of
maybe
make
early
sense, but
1998.
does a movie really stay in theaters that long? So that's an interesting little loophole in this story.
I mean, sometimes films will like bring it back if it was really popular, so it could be that.
I don't think Mortal Kombat 2 is very popular.
You're not
um,
wrong.
Um,
I'm not going to disagree with
the
that.
release date for Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which came out November 21st, 1997. Depending on how it was doing in the box office, maybe it was like just like barely gonna leave theaters. If it's like maybe January of 1998.
hmm.
Okay, we'll pretend that it works. We'll pretend the
We'll
timeline is
pretend like
real.
this timeline is making sense. But let's
And
get back to it. He told them that the movie had already started. They wouldn't make it back in time. The boys kept pushing harder and asking him why they wouldn't help them, mentioning they didn't have a gun or anything. The experience ended in terror when he looked into the boys' eyes and realized each boy had black eyes. Understandably unnerved, he began to drive away, but one of the boys banged on his window and angrily cried, "We can't come in unless you tell us it's okay. Let us in." When he
Ew,
looked back in
no.
his rearview mirror, the boys had vanished.
what do you mean we don't have a gun?
Yeah, so they don't have a gun or anything.
We
Nothing
don't have a
suspicious.
gun.
What?
I I feel
That's
like if I,
totally normal.
yeah, if I was trying to get some help, I would not say that I don't have a gun.
Like, that makes me think, like, I
Hello,
didn't
I
have
need.
that thought.
I didn't have that thought until you put it there.
Exactly. So, like, this is one of those things, it makes me think of like when you're making an argument for yourself and they're like, and then all of a sudden you're like, I know you might be worried about XYZ. And it's like, no, don't say that, because they weren't worried about XYZ till you said it out loud. And now
But
you've
now
put
I'm
these
thinking
thoughts in
about
your
it.
head. So just ask for what you want and don't give any reasons for it.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I don't know
Okay, somebody's saying just out of the blue, I don't have a gun. Sounds exactly like they have a gun.
that they have a gun. They might have a gun.
Okay, obviously the gun thing stuck out to me the most, but there's also this like, we can't come in unless you tell us it's okay.
Yes, so we will talk
Let
about
us
that later
in.
because that is probably the next strangest thing besides we don't have a gun. Because
Let
I feel
us
like
in.
I've never heard a child speak like that. But we're going to continue on.
In 2013, Bethel wrote that his strange experience with these children was originally shared in a private communication with a small group of friends on an email list that was leaked onto the internet. No evidence of this original document has been found, but Bethel's story is undoubtedly the foundation of all BEK, Black Eyed Kids. Bethel conducted that his story circulated to his friends online, and his friends thought it was too good of a story that they shared it online with everybody. Others across the world began to speak up about their own experiences with the supposed black eyed children. The BEK urban legend, ghost story, cryptid is born.
So this one actually was born very quickly just from Bethel's story circulating online. I
I
guess,
mean, a lot of stories these days get circulated real quick, whether they're true or false, online real quick. And that was what, the late 90s? So if it circulated that quickly then, imagine how it is now.
oh, yes, yes. We'll get to that later.
In 2014, when songwriter and paranormal investigator Lee Brickley was interviewed by Birmingham Mail about sitting in Cannock Chase, England, Brickley had been investigating a rumored sighting of black-eyed ghosts in Cannock Chase, including one where a woman and her daughter were out for a walk when they heard screams and spotted a child wandering alone. The mother ran up to catch it, but couldn't find the child. When she turned back around, the girl, appearing to be 10 years old, stood there with her hands over her eyes. She asked, "Are you okay? Were you screaming?" The girl just dropped her hands and revealed eyes that were completely black, no iris, no white. The startled woman grabbed her daughter and jumped back. When she looked up, expecting to see the child, she was gone. Oh
It's
man, I
pretty
don't know.
creepy.
Like I
No,
just
that's
picture
creepy.
like watching a friend's kid and being like, "Oh hey, oh no, there's like a kid. Let's go check on them." Followed.
Brickley also claimed that the same girl who he calls a ghost had been seen 30 years earlier by his own aunt. Brickley claims that his aunt heard a child crying at night and followed sobbing. When she came upon the girl, who was at least maybe 6 years old, her eyes were completely black. And before she knew it, the child ran off into the woods. So the sightings of this female child in Cannock Chase made headlines in the 1960s. It was what a site of one of the biggest police investigations in British history, where three local schoolgirls disappeared. So some say that the black-eyed child that his aunt saw is maybe one of the ghosts of one of these girls.
Oh.
Yes, so it could be a ghost, maybe, like haunting that area. I cannot speak from experience because I don't think I physically have seen a ghost.
I mean, when you look at like pictures of ghosts, it's a sheet with, blacked out eyes. So,
Yeah, I think the most common description of a ghost is, yeah, a sheet with black eyes. So that had to come from somewhere, right?
somebody's laundry got
From
away.
Yeah.
So, on a stormy winter night in 2015, a couple allowed entry to two black eyed children. Now, imagine you're sleeping when you are woken up to a loud banging at the door at 2 a.m. You look out the window and see fresh footsteps in the snow, and the motion sensor light is going off. So you do what anyone would do in your situation. And if you have a partner, you go get them and you tell them, go to the door and see who's there. The banging starts again, and your partner opens the door to find a boy and a girl who seem to be about 8-ish. Both were dressed odd. The girl had long hair and the boy had a bowl cut. The kids didn't make any eye contact when, um, in this case, the husband asked if they were okay. They didn't answer, and instead asked in a sing-song voice, "May we come in? They'll be here soon. Our parents will be here soon." All four of their cats went into hiding.
I think that's the scariest part so far because when your pets go to hide, especially cats, there's something wrong.
I also think about how I imagine it in unison where they're like, "May we come in? Our parents will be here soon." What are you doing here at 2 a.m. in the middle of the snow, kids? What do you mean
I
your
just,
parents
in
will
my
be here
brain, I
soon?
just always picture like that scene in The Shining with the two
I was
kids in
about
the
to
hallway.
say,
Yes, at the end of
That's
the
what I
hallway.
picture when they say this.
"May we come in?"
Yeah, it's just very odd behavior for kids.
Yeah. It's been said in other stories that even the most aggressive dogs run away in fear of them. So when the wife stepped away for a moment and then she walked back in, locked eyes with the kids, their pitch black, demon like eyes, the wife's reaction was like visible, right? Like there's no way for her to hide that fear. And immediately the kids are like, "May we use the restroom?" And as they step away, like the husband starts talking about the kids. She's like, "Did you see their eyes? It's kind of weird." And just like seconds later, his nose starts to bleed. The power goes out, and suddenly the kids are at the end of the hallway.
The Shining?
Yeah, sure.
Ew!
It sounds like that. What?
I think someone watched The Shining on this one, but okay, we'll
Yeah.
keep going.
Let's just like blend stories. It does sound like that. But after what felt like an eternity, the kids said, "Our parents are here."
Our
So
parents are here.
there you go. So they run out where they to find two 6 foot tall men in suits, that had shown up in their black car, and the kids just ran out and drove away with them. In the months that followed, the cat started hemorrhaging and passed away. Both husband and wife started having nosebleeds, and the husband was diagnosed with skin cancer. The wife states she's been in the worst condition of her life.
The
You're
poor
saying,
cats.
I know, right? Like those cats tried to hide, and they got the worst of it out of all of them.
The poor babies.
Oh,
The whole thing
well,
is scary.
so after even the cats, that being the worst part is the cats dying. These children were picked up by 6 foot tall men in suits with a black car.
Here come the men in black.
That is my thought exactly.
I mean, the whole nosebleeds happening after is really scary too. But there's this idea of like, is this coincidental? Like, what could possibly caused
The only
all
thing
these
I can
things?
think of is, now that we're speaking of the men in black, is that there is some kind of radiation going on here with these children.
At least in this instance, right?
In this instance, because all these health problems are kind of interesting. And these kids being picked up by 6 foot tall men in suits.
Sounds like a demon.
Do you think that demons get picked up in men in black suits?
No, this goes back to the alien concept, or just like maybe they are demons slash alien.
Those are like their little
Alien
little butlers.
demons.
Alien demons. Listen, we've all seen Stranger Things, the show. Why not? Government conspiracy part 2.
Oh, it could be.
Oh.
And this, at least in this case, because I mean, why would they show up in suits with a black car? That so sounds government coded.
It does. It does.
Oh, it's my thoughts. But still, why 2 a.m.? Why the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, out of all the houses.
Why would you let anybody in your house knocking on your door at...
So I think that also goes back to the fact that these are children. And I think most people don't think that children are demonic. Especially...
I think I have trust issues because I would have been like, just sit on my porch. I'm going to call CPS real quick.
And then they would have been like, it's not like we have a gun or anything.
We don't have a gun.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I think if I just looked outside, if I lived somewhere that it snowed, like we don't have seasons. It's California. Or Southern California.
Oh, did I send you guys a video where it said that California has like 12 seasons?
Oh yes, with the fire and the
like,
fake autumn.
It's what? Summer, fall, autumn, second summer, which we're about to go into second summer.
Mm-hmm. Gotta love our 90-degree heat.
Yes. In October.
Nothing says fall like 90-degree heat.
So, I mean, part of the reason why I wouldn't let strange children knocking on my door at 2 a.m. in is we've seen horror movies. We've seen the creepy little kids, which children were considered socially insignificant until the Romantic period, so about late 18th century to early 19th century. Children were considered pure and innocent until the mid 20th century, when suddenly youth culture and scrutiny of popular media influence on children became hot topics about post-World War II. There I go with my ums.
Yes, we know you like the ums. Did we mention that, you guys, that we're Southern California girlies? So if
we're gonna say
or like
and
a lot,
and like totally and like dude.
I know I definitely said totally in the last episode.
Sorry, don't apologize.
It's the Orange County.
That's who you are.
It's the OC in us.
I do think that children in horror have played a big part of people's skepticism about letting children now into their homes, because we have so many movies now with children being the center of fear.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense with the recent Abigail film. Like, you don't expect like a small child to be someone that would harm you, and therefore it makes them the perfect way to drop your guard and scare you in film, or in this case, black-eyed kids at your door.
I think a good depiction of Black Eyed Kids to me is Let the Right One In. That one does have like a UK and US version. And to me, that's what inspired that movie. Because you don't expect a kid to have such killer instincts to be so harmful. And I think that this, whatever these BEKs are, they are relying on that fact that you think of them as children and that they're innocent.
So yeah, in the 1970s to the 1990s, we started to see more media depicting children as villains. Um,
Oh
Both
yes,
of
I
you have
can
mentioned
always,
some.
always, always remember Children of the Corn. Watching that when I was little, even when I was
The
a kid watching Children of the
Exorcist.
Corn.
That was The Exorcist for me, and Interview with the
The
Yes.
Vampire. But
Exorcist. The interview with the vampire is interesting too because yes, one of the vampires is a little girl, and she
Mhm.
mhm.
does quite a bit of killing
And
for
she
being a little
uses the
girl.
fact that she is youthful to lure her victims in.
Hmm. I wonder if that's like a big inspiration for, or was did someone see BK and was like, you know what? Let me just interview with the vampire.
But I mean, if you notice some of this BEK stuff, them requesting permission in, just like how in vampire literature, vampires require permission
Okay,
to
so
enter
we're gonna go into
places.
some of these theories right now, and we're gonna talk more about that right now. So far, what we know is that they have very odd speech patterns. Black eyes, perhaps more importantly, they just don't act the way children should, or the way we think children should. Similar to some vampire legends, it appears that they must be invited in a private space. So, whether that be your car, your home, your yard, you have to invite them in. So, some of this also could invoke maybe some kind of fairy, demon, changeling, alien vibes. Through encounters, though, some of them have lasting effects. Some people who have run ins with these BEKs report nightmares and having anxiety disorders, which cause people just to have fear and avoid situations where they might feel trapped and unable to get help. The number of reports have been in the hundreds. The most common thing is people report their sightings and their knowledge online. So there is so many more online encounters that we did not cover. If you guys would like us to cover a part two, we can start shifting, going through some of these Reddit posts because a lot of people have posted on Reddit, TikTok that they have encountered BEKs. And because of that, this urban legend has spiraled so popular online because now people are recording their encounters with them. Also, from their appearance, I would say that people are scared of their black eyes because black eyes have been known to have be tied to evilness and like an inner darkness.
Well,
So, what do you
they
guys
do.
think about that?
I mean, it makes sense when we think of eyes being the window to your soul, right? That's like a expression.
Yeah, that's
Yes, because
exactly
your
what I
eyes
was going to
show
say.
so much emotion, and if they're all black, what are you seeing?
Well, so the eyes being the window to the soul, having that blackness makes it the black eyed kids seem soulless, kind of very it. And if you think about it, we have a lot of expressions we do through our eyes, so it's like a communication barrier. It just makes humans uneasy.
It's also the uncanny valley thing where you see something and it's just like off. But in the case of the eyes, it's even though it's just color in of like the pupil iris, or what is the whites part? That I don't know.
The
Yeah, that's what
sclera.
makes you think not human, because it's such like a nor like a I don't know, just what you expect a human to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So, going back to the sighting where the children showed up at the couple's house, they mentioned that they were picked up by 6 foot tall men in a black car. These kids have black eyes. That makes me think of other creatures that have black eyes, which are aliens. Because if you ever seen a lot of drawings or like depictions of aliens, they're very big black eyes. But the fact that they look like children is what's interesting to me.
Yeah, I get the alien theory, like maybe aliens here on Earth trying to get more information about humans using what they think would have people have their guards down with using perceived children, but it also makes sense of why this kid's showing up in 2015 with a bowl cut. Of course, uh, trends keep changing and going back and changing and going back. I mean, mullets are popular again, so
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned it, but a lot of the sightings of these children, they're always in outdated clothing. So, yeah, so the first one, they said that they were in hoodies, which I don't know if that's very outdated to me. I feel like that's a pretty normal thing for kids to wear are hoodies. But the kids that showed up to the house, to the couple's house, they were wearing very outdated clothing.
well, they said that the clothing was odd, which could mean anything. It could just be just a bunch of clothes that doesn't make sense together. Not that I have much room to talk. Sometimes I'm just throwing on whatever I can find in the morning. Um, but I mean the bowl cut thing makes me think like if it were aliens, maybe they just have outdated like research of
So
what kids.
they're just putting on what they think kids would wear.
Yeah, like
Yes.
imagine I imagine this is the storytelling part of me that is making stuff up. But I just picture being in a spaceship and being like, "Oh, cool, we got some new information over on Earth. Let's see. All right, let's go try on these outfits." And they got like the 80s clothes going on and they land, but it's 2025.
I was gonna
And they're like,
say,
guys, we just we got some new information now.
and let me help us earn the geeky in our title. Kind of like in Doctor Who, maybe on the TARDIS, get the time frame wrong, show up wearing a certain era of clothing, but the TARDIS drops you off in a whole other
A whole
A whole
other
era.
space and time
yes.
continuum. It's exactly what that sounds like to me.
Yes, yes.
So if these were aliens,
Well, just to cut you off for a second, I feel like the alien concept would explain the radiation. Uh,
they leave psychological effects and they lead physical effects because the couple that did let them into their homes have health problems now.
to me, the psychological effects make sense for anyone who's ever felt the presence of anything or encountered something they cannot explain. It messes with you because you cannot explain it. And talking
Yep.
about it sounds crazy. Like, and so then you have to decide what is a safe space to share this story in the first place. Kind of like the reporter at the beginning. He was like a proper, well known reporter, journalist, and is very aware I can share this with friends, but this is not going in the news because ultimately, any kind of encounter with the paranormal or unexplainable is going to mess with your brain.
It's going to cause an irrational fear because people fear the unknown. I do get that part right there. So maybe that's what people are feeling about this when they encounter black-eyed children is that they fear the unknown because they don't know what it is.
Right. These kids could legitimately just need some help and then like go off their merry way. Or, they're not necessarily trying to like physically harm people, but it sure sounds like it when we read some of these things.
Yeah,
We
you say
don't have a
that,
gun.
but
I
yes, that
don't
makes
have
me
a
think of the
gun.
first one where they're like, "We don't have a gun."
We
And they're
just want to see.
banging on his car
Yeah.
saying, "Let us
Let
in.
us
You
in.
have to let us in. We cannot come in unless you let us." That does not seem like, oh, these children need help. That is very aggressive behavior on their part.
Yes. But the children that were allowed into a home were not seemingly aggressive. So I
Well,
don't know.
perhaps it's because they were let in without any hesitation. They
Ah,
didn't need to
good.
fight them for it. They weren't like, "You need to let us in," like banging outside of their house. The couple just let them in because they saw children. In Bethel's case, he felt he felt it right away, just rolling down his window, that like there's something wrong with these children. I'm not letting them in.
Yeah.
And that's in a lot of cases, is that people don't let them in, but they see them. And so I feel like those people are the ones that are reporting their aggressive behavior versus people who have let them in, who are experiencing lasting effects.
Yeah, no,
They also
definitely.
sound
But
like
there's also this,
vampires.
it does sound like vampires.
Yeah, so that is the other theory, is they're little vampires. They're mini vampires, little mini vamps.
Baby
And
vamps.
they're trying to get let in. To do what? We're not really sure. I don't think there's been any reports of, besides the lasting effects of the health issues and stuff. I don't understand how letting a vampire in would make all of your cats die.
That's the most
But
upsetting part of that
yes,
story.
that is very
Yeah,
upsetting
it
to
is
me.
upsetting.
But the first encounter
I mean,
with
I'm sorry the
Bethel
guy
made
got
me.
cancer and the wife's sick, but
That could all be coincidental, though. Like,
Right,
that is a
and
very
Really.
normal
that's what makes
part
it
of life.
difficult, because like someone getting cancer is something that happens, but and so obviously you're going to want to tie it to
You're going to
something
tie it
else.
to the fear of the unknown. Like, oh my
Right.
God, that encounter could have caused all of this.
And I could see that being something that somebody's thinking, but there's also this like, why did the four cats die within a month of this
That is
happening?
very strange.
And that would also add to wanting to explain the other things combined, right? Even though they might have nothing to do with each other.
I agree. But the first one makes it seem very vampy. That encounter seems very vampy to me. They're angsty kids, preteens, I guess, 9 to
Preteens.
12, in hoodies, light skinned, speaking in absolutes. You must let us in. Very outdated speech patterns. That gives off vampire to me.
I have a question. So for the BEKs, most of these were stories found. I didn't see any footage of a
There,
BEK.
I did not see any footage. A lot of them are online reports or their vlogs. They are. I haven't seen any online sightings. You could probably go on, well, the most popular form of media now, TikTok, and some people claim to have seen them, but it's so easy to doctor photos or in videos for TikTok that we're unsure if those are even real.
Yeah, because contacts are available.
Contacts are available. It's so easy to make special effects now. There's so many applications that help you do easy special effects. Horror is a very popular genre now, so that would give you a lot of likes, a lot of views.
I'd
Can't be
watch it.
trusted. You'd watch it.
I do
You're
watch
like, I'm
it.
watching it right
You know, when
now.
you're
I
in the middle of the
would.
night and someone's like, "Hey, look at this," and I'm like, "Let me look at this real quick," even though it's
All the
like 2
comments
a.m.
are,
and I'm like,
I do not accept this
I do not accept this
energy.
into my house. Yes, I also say that when watching it. I do not accept any negative energy into my house, but let me watch this.
But let me still
But
go
let me
Let
watch
me
ahead
this
see
real
and
this.
quick.
stare into the
There's
unknown.
also the people that are like, I'm hiding in the comments. Tell me what happens.
That's me too. That's been me. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man.
I gotta see it for my own eyes. I feel like I'm someone who has to see it to believe it.
I'm
And
guilty of like if it's a story time, I'm like, I'm just gonna listen to it while I'm doing dishes.
so you don't get the full effect of it.
No, yeah, because I'm not looking at the screen, so I didn't see the entity. I just heard about it.
Yeah, see. So I do believe that seeing these entities are what's responsible for the lasting effects of like fear, cuz it's any seeing anything paranormal leaves you with that effect, cuz you don't know what it is and you
Hmm.
don't know what it wants or what it's going to do to you. If it's going to come
Hmm.
back, what if it came back? What if they come back and they see you again? You know, they come back to your house and they're like, "Hey, you let us in last time."
What if they don't need permission to go inside the second time because you already allowed the
Oh,
first?
because they're vampires. So
Yeah,
once they
that's why
are
you
let
don't
in,
want to
they
put
could
any
just come
welcome
in.
mats.
Yeah, exactly. The welcome
Wait,
mats.
that would explain the cats. So if they let them in the first time, after the second and third time, what if they were just coming back and they just didn't even know?
Possibility. I mean, we don't know. We're just making stuff up at this
We're trying to make sense of this, but
These are
that would make
theories,
sense.
okay?
point.
But that would make sense. If once you invite them in, they don't need your permission anymore to be there.
But I mean, going back to the welcome mats, I do think that's a big part of big vamps.
Is
Big
that
Do you think
enough though?
vampire.
vampires?
Welcome mats on every door.
Is that enough though to like
Yeah,
override the permission for vampires?
Yeah,
absolutely.
because
Vampires,
it's
are you out there?
implied.
Is that
It's
enough?
implied permission to come into your
It's
house.
implied permission. Be like, hey,
You
I
Yeah.
got implied permission to be here.
you purchase something that says welcome and put it outside your door, you are welcoming anything inside your home.
Wow. Good thing I've never bought a welcome mat. I think my mat says boo right now. So you
Mine
know.
says Happy Halloween. Has a
There you
Mine
little.
says
go.
hope you brought pie.
Oh. Is that an implied, entry though?
I
If they brought
wonder.
pie, are they able to come in?
Well, I haven't had anybody bring me pie yet, so I guess no one's allowed it.
Well, we can bring you pie and we'll cut it into quarters again. And
Oh, yes.
so, first birthday we celebrated with Claudia. We went to Marie Callender's and we got a pie. And we were like, okay, let's have this pie. And instead of just like serving ourselves like a little slice, we just cut it into fourths and then just all ate a fourth of a pie.
Yeah, I don't even remember what kind of pie it is. I remember it
I
being
think it was
good.
coconut cream.
Was it coconut cream?
It was
Was
some
it
kind of
coconut
cream.
or banana cream?
Yeah, it was one of those.
It was a cream pie for sure. It was like a fruit cream pie. But I just thought it was funny that we were like, there's 4 of us. Perfect. I know how to math. I got this. You get a quarter and I get a quarter.
uh,
So
What's your
good.
guys' favorite? What's your favorite pie then, Claudia? Since you like pie so much.
I do like banana. I do like coconut. I also like cherry pie if it's like more of a fall pie. And I like making apple pie. I snuck in a whole apple pie to the San Diego Zoo once. It was great.
You just
yeah,
put it in your
we
purse
went
and
for
you
my
like
daughter's
snacked on it.
birthday.
I'm confused.
Yeah, I just baked the whole pie and they didn't care.
Yeah,
You brought a whole pie into
I
your
brought a
purse?
she
I
did. It was my daughter's birthday, and we all went to the San Diego Zoo, and she brought a whole ass pie with her.
and I just and I made sandwiches, and so I brought out everybody's sandwich, and then I brought out my giant ass pie to share with
It was
everybody.
great.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think you
Senora
guys
vibes.
might be able to guess my favorite pie.
I'm gonna guess it's pumpkin because your mom makes you pumpkin pie every year for your birthday.
I mean, she hasn't for a few years. Mom, if you're listening, this
No.
is me publicly shaming you.
I remember when she would make
Also,
the
it's coming up. God.
Yeah, my birthday is coming up.
Right? Her birthday's
Get
coming
started
up.
on it now.
I remember she would make you the pumpkin pie and it had like the special like walnut topping on top of it.
Yes,
It was
like
so
a
good.
That sounds
candied
so
pecan with like cinnamon topping on top of the pumpkin pie that she made homemade, as well as the crust. But I'm also just a pie girly. I prefer pie over cake for my birthday every year.
Well, it makes sense because your birthday's in October.
Yeah, it is.
So, and your favorite pie is pumpkin, so those are abundant around your birthday.
I also like a good sweet potato pie.
Sweet potato
sweet
pie.
Potato.
They're so good when it's made right.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever. I want to say I have not had a sweet potato pie.
Girl,
Delicious.
we're gonna get you some sweet
I
potato
have
pie.
not had a sweet potato pie. I feel like all the pies I have ever had are pretty much the generic pie.
Generic.
Next time I'm in Orange
Yeah,
County,
like pumpkin,
we're gonna get you a sweet potato
apple,
pie.
cherry, key lime pie. Like the normal. Like the. I think I've had strawberry rhubarb. Once.
Rhubarb is good.
I like rhubarb. It's nice and like it has like a tart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but pies weren't like a really big thing in my household unless it was the holidays. And even when it was the holidays, we would just buy the ones that we knew people were gonna want. So like the basic ones, like pumpkin, yeah, apple. Okay, that's easy.
And my grandparents were always going to Marie Callender's and getting pie, like a berry pie, the strawberry rhubarb pie, and then I would sneak pieces anytime my grandparents weren't looking because that's just who I am.
It's pie.
You're just a little pie burglar.
You can't just have pie
pie. Yum, 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 yum.
in the fridge. I mean, if pie is in the fridge, I'm gonna eat it. Like, it's already there.
So it's
I'm already
established your
thinking
guys'
about going to the
favorites
store
are
and getting
pies.
myself a pie because this pie conversation is making me real hungry.
Are you gonna go to like the store or Costco because they have some huge pies there?
I might go to Costco and get a giant pumpkin pie and see how long that lasts me.
Sounds
Nice. I
amazing.
think their pumpkin cheesecake is pretty good there.
I did get a pumpkin cheesecake at Cheesecake Factory last time.
Anyways, we went way off topic with the pies.
I feel like
Tell
we
us,
should have a
listener, what is
disclaimer.
your favorite pie?
Disclaimer: it was a lot of pie talk. And what are your guys' favorite pies that I
let
have
us
not
know
had?
what's
Because I
your
probably have
favorite
not had it.
pie.
Ooh,
Are
pie
you
recipes.
a pie girl or boy, or
Do you
are you a
identify
pie
as a pie
person or are you a
person?
cake person?
What if you're like
All the
an ice cream
sweets.
person? I feel like there's a lot of ice cream people out there.
Ice cream cake?
As much
Yes.
as I do like ice cream. I can't eat a lot of it, A, because I'm lactose intolerant, and B, I get bored with ice cream real quick. I don't know what it is.
You get bored of
I
ice cream?
do.
What?
I don't know why. It's just like I can never finish ice cream, go to Rite Aid, get a scoop. I eat maybe half of it and then I hand it off.
Whoa. I would never hand off my ice cream to anybody.
Hands off my ice cream.
Exactly. Like, this is my ice cream.
I also feel like
Get
I'm
your
not the kind of
own.
person that goes somewhere to order ice cream. When I'm going to Disney, I'm not like I can't wait to get some ice cream.
Okay, the only thing I
I'm-
want is a Dole float. That's what
I still don't like every time I
Ooh,
go. I
Dole floats
still
are
don't
so
get
good.
Dole floats. I get those rarely, even though I know they're good. But I'm just not a big ice cream person.
I'm a big ice cream person.
Okay, but going back to the BEKs and
Oh
not
yeah, back to
pie,
our
but maybe the
podcast about
BEKs do
squeaky
like
things
pie.
and not about pie.
We forgot
Not
we're being
about
recorded,
pie.
clearly. 30 minutes of pie, 10 minutes of BEKs. That's the wrap.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
There we go. Theory solved. BEKs, pie more important.
Black Eyed
I
Kids,
mean-
have you tried pie?
I feel like most people have tried pie. If you have not tried pie, where have you been living?
I mean,
Also,
maybe
let us know in the
solves
comments.
the maybe pie solves the BK problem.
All right, let us know. Do you think? Wait. I want to know. Do you think my welcome mat I guess it's called a welcome mat. Maybe that's where we all went wrong. But my mat
That's what
saying,
happened.
"Hope you brought pie." Hope you brought pie. Is that a welcome?
Do you think that is enough to welcome a BEK to her door if they brought pie?
Should I switch out my mat? I'm kind of scared now.
Claudia's kind of doomed if they do show up with pie. I don't know.
I don't know. I think she would let them in. I think even if they came at 2 a.m. to her door and they were like,
And they
"Hey,
were like,
we brought
"We
pie.
brought
Can we come
pie."
in?" She'd be like, "Yeah, come on in."
Oh, I love
So
pie.
that's
How'd you
just
know?
a whole different thing there.
But then I just make friends. It wouldn't be the same.
Well, it would be the same because they would come back without you knowing. That's the whole problem about this.
But do they bring pie?
As long as they bring pie each time, it's fine.
They must pay the toll. You just see me like tape it onto it.
Is closed.
It's 2 a.m. Where are we gonna get a pie now? I think I'm safe now that I said it like that. I'm good. I'll sleep.
There you go.
tonight.
Okay, you'll sleep better now knowing that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, the third theory about this is, of course, it's all made up. These reports, these incidences are people just seeing ghosts. Because as we know, ghosts also have black eyes. Like when you see drawings of ghosts or you see them, they have black eyes. So do you think that this could all be summed up in ghost sightings as well and not physical beings? Because a lot of the reports say that they vanish when they go to look back for them, or they're just suddenly gone.
Okay, so our options are alien, demon, ghost,
Vampire.
BEK, vampire.
Of course, this could also probably be explained in more ways. If you have any other theories besides these, let us know. I mentioned earlier it could be some kind of fairy trying to plant changelings into homes too. But so far, there's been no
The
Ooh.
reports of
Fae. I didn't
that.
even think about that.
There's been no reports of that since these encounters have not led to people having strange children being left in their home.
I don't know. I have two strange children left in my home.
Well, did at 2 a.m. you let in some kids?
I mean, they'll just walk into my room at 2 a.m., but they call me mommy, so I don't think it's the same.
Well,
Listen, we don't have kids, so we would definitely notice if we suddenly had one.
if we suddenly just had kids, we'd be like,
Yeah. Like,
whoa.
whoa, where'd you come from? You know,
Surprise!
as opposed to like, because the changelings where they switch out your baby, right? And make you raise one of theirs.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that in a different episode because I'm sure
Yeah, yeah,
we'll
yeah. I'm
cover
just
the
kind of
Fae.
establishing what that is and thinking about what that would
Yeah.
look like in my home. Yeah, no, that would be way too obvious.
Yeah.
That would be a call to CPS, as you said. Hey, we found this kid in our home. I don't know how it got here.
Yeah, the changelings are the Fae replacing your children with Fae children who act different.
Well, potentially, yeah, or just differences.
Yeah, because I mean that's the symptom. Like your baby can meet a lot of milestones. It's usually around toddler stage is when you start to notice different
I can see
things.
that. That makes sense. I look forward to the changeling episode.
Yeah.
Yes, that's probably going to be a couple parts because there's a lot of folklore with fairies, the fae, so much with that. Hopefully, you guys look forward to that. It's probably going to be one of my
And
favorite topics. I love fairies, even
yeah, and when
though
we're talking about the Fae, we're not talking about like, the night court.
I think we're talking about the night court.
I mean, I am,
I mean,
but
We're
depends
always going to
on
talk
what
about
kind
the
of
night
stories we
court.
want to deep dive into. Night.
I mean, yeah, I enjoy the Fae smut. I'm not gonna lie.
My brain's like,
I
that's
know
for a different podcast. That's
that
for
is
Yeah, that's
smut
for
talk.
something else
wrong
entirely.
podcast. Well, since we're talking about little vamps, I understand the vamp smut. I remember that used to be a big thing, Twilight, all that kind of stuff. I remember reading it, but
Yeah,
none of it
Twilight.
ever compared to the Fae smut. I'm sorry. The Fae books were so much better. But that's just my take on it. I know a lot of people like vampires. I still like vampires, but not as much as I like Fae.
What are some of your
Bree is.
recommendations since you're bringing it up for our listeners?
Hey Bree, don't act like we didn't have matching Twilight shirts in high school.
I did. I That's why I said I am not dogging on vampires because I used to be obsessed with vampires. And even when before the movie came out, we read the books. I
Yep,
loved it.
we
The
did.
movie is what ruined that, thing for me, but movies usually do ruin books just because the translation gets lost somewhere in between. Like, this is supposed to be like angsty and this, and it just is not. I don't know. I know a lot of people love the movies, don't get me wrong. I'm sure a lot of you out there love the Twilight series, but you probably also didn't read the books.
I'm not
I'm
a
sure.
Twilighter person. I tried because my friend was really into them, but the first 120 pages, which means I really tried because first 120 pages was just this girl complaining about how she didn't think she was pretty, how she didn't like this new
I'm
place she
so
was living
plain
at.
and so ugly.
And it was kind of like, this is really slow, and I do believe that it'll probably pick up, but I don't have it in me. And I didn't finish it.
Did you watch the movies?
Nope. I've only seen the snippets because one of our friends is obsessed with Twilight, and
Yeah,
she even
she
has a
is.
giant
She has a cutout
cutout
of Edward.
to this day. She
We
just brings it
love
out
you
every
so
now and
much.
then. Yes, we love you so much. You know who we're talking about. Love you. But yeah, I still have yet to see the films or read the books, but I not understand the references.
I mean, how could you not? It's everywhere.
It's yeah.
um. So, uh, yeah. So, Black Eyed Kids. I I don't see, I mean, I can see how people would think they are ghosts, as in like they disappear and show up out of the blue. However, like with that one story about the couple that let them in, their cats died, they both got sick. It sounds like there's some kind of radiation, which it gives me both either the alien theory or the demon theory more credibility on that one. That's my opinion. I'm curious about what other people's opinions are on that. Let us know what you think about the Black Eyed Kids. If you have any stories relating to them, if you've run into Black Eyed Kids, um, and let us know. We're interested.
For sure. I definitely want to revisit this if we get more reports. I read a lot of reports on Reddit saying that I have encountered black eyed children. They're not one of the bigger stories when I was doing the research for this. But if we need to do a part two about some of these stories or some of your guys' stories, even some sightings that are possible on TikTok, we can revisit the black eyed kids. I'm sure more and more evidence about these children are still going to be reported.
All right. So let us know what you would like us to cover next. We've got a list going on now, but if you can think of something that you're interested in, a topic, let us know. We'll attach our socials, all of that, and you can reach us there.
Yes, and we do, since we have officially entered spooky season, our next episode will be covering my favorite holiday, Halloween, and we look forward to sharing that with you guys. And of course, what our special segment will be at the end of the month, and we hope to see or hear from you guys.
Yay! All right, keep it
Yay!
spooky.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. For more ghoulish fun, connect with us on our social medias, Geeky Ghouls or Geeky Ghouls Podcast.
We'd love to hear your suggestions on topics for future episodes. Share your fan art and overall comments about this week's topic.
You can also join our Geeky Coven on Patreon and unlock exclusive content and perks. Your support means the world to us.
Catch us on the next episode of Geeky Ghouls.